I spent a week writing my life into 5 parts, a minute for birth, for childhood, and on and on. I used specific details to wake up universal longings, and wondered if my broken engagement on 34th Street would resonate. Figured the restoration of my broken faith would round out a conclusion. And then last night, a man overdosed in my living room. He was one of our dinner guests, eating and drinking, while I was merry with the small satisfaction that comes from feeding the hungry. While I was merry with the small satisfaction that comes from rounding out a Christian conclusion, they were telling stories about being hungry and homeless, about car crash killed families and bad drug trips during train hop travels. I inhaled lines of their experience for poems to come, and wondered where they would rest their heads when they left. Wondered at how the Son of Man had no place to rest his head in winter. And I was glad then that my name was not Jesus. This is the season of Advent, expectant waiting for salvation to be born. I spent a week choosing details from a 23-year timeline, broke them down to their Staten Island bones and called them Amy. Defined myself by locations, relations, and linear checkpoints. Pinpointed my need for salvation, my preacher's daughter's rebellion, and the storm of my return to a God now big enough to handle me. I had my 5-part poem wrapped up and tied with string, and when our dinner guest asked to use the restroom, I showed him where the light was. He came out sweating. His fall was to his knees at first, and then he tumbled over, nearly knocking into our newly risen Christmas tree. We waited, held our breath, and I held his head when his face turned blue because I knew Jesus would do that. But would Jesus do mouth to mouth for a man with splitting lips and hepatitis C? And then the sirens screamed, and paramedics pressed for answers only his friend could offer. What was he on? How long ago did he take it? Heroin and heavy drinking, and I don't know. So they carried him away, and my small satisfaction started to feel more like fear or resentment at depravity so willing to unwind a nice Advent dinner and my conditional kindness unable to change a goddamn thing. The poem of my life unwrote itself, all 5 packaged parts, pale and predictable. Advent is the season of waiting, for salvation to be born and grow, to preach hope and feed the hungry and heal the sick. Advent waits for the birth of a man who was promised an untimely death. Salvation is no freedom from discomfort or mess. He will not lessen the blows of sin, but transforms reality until restless depravity finds home in the heart of God. It's getting colder. My life is still cluttered with lists and details. What difference did his birth make if my identity is in my doing? I cannot win this. Have no miracle bone in my body. Helpless to make heroin less appealing, I can hardly clean veins of their longing. So I wait. It gets colder. The season is upon us. My story needs a savior. This dying needs a fix.